Hello everyone and welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Black Widow Deluxe figure. Here we have the Deluxe Black Widow with all of her various accessories and blast effects and just everything that we get in the package displayed here in the front window, and then down at the bottom we do have the Black Widow movie logo. On the side we get some artwork here of Black Widow leaping into action, and that is going to be the same artwork on both sides. On the back, we do have a product shot so we can see the stands and all the various effects and everything that we do get with this deluxe version. And then we do have a read-up, which is the same read-up as the standard release Black Widow. Natasha Romanoff reunites with a group of spies from her past to stop a lethal force. And then down at the bottom, we have the UPC code, so you can check with your local retailer to see if they have this in stock. But enough about that. Let's get this open and take a look at the Deluxe Black Widow. And here is the Deluxe Black Widow outside of her packaging, and overall, I'm a tad underwhelmed. Not really by the accessories and things like that, but mostly by Hasbro's first introduction into this deluxe setup with the Black Widow figure that was literally a recast of the standard retail release. There are some slight differences which we'll go into, but this is basically the same version, sculpt and everything, that we saw with the figure that I just reviewed like, 2-3 videos ago. So that is a little bit of a disappointment that we don't get more of a variation there. But the accessories and everything are very cool, and honestly, I want to go into a bit more detail on those and give them their own segment here so that we can actually look at them a little bit better. Now, when standing straight up, the Black Widow figure is coming in at 6 inches tall, which makes her 15.2 centimeters. As I said, it is the same figure as that retail release. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in here and look at all of the accessories, and then we're going to switch over and take a look at the figure. So taking a look first here at the base for the stand, so we get this 3x3 grid here of these little ball joints, and then you're going to see we have a peg here and here for her feet, and then you get these openings here, here, and here for the different bullet effects. And the pieces just port in very easily. So looking first at the large blast piece, you can see it's hollow, but it does have that port, and then there you go. You just push it on, and there you go. And it can spin around, if you need to put it in a certain position. But otherwise, I actually like the sculpt work on this. I like the coloring that they did. You get a good gradient there going to that darker orange or dark red, if you want to call it. And very cool looking, though. I like that piece. And you could put this on any of these ports because you want to have it on the corner. You can put it on the corner. It can hang off, and that's just fine. So that's going to be the first piece. The next one is the smaller blast piece. And it's a little misshapen there, but the smaller blast piece fits in again anywhere you need it to. And that's pretty cool looking too. Same gradient that was used with the other blast piece, so it came out looking really good. I like that as well. Now we get our bullet effects here, or I would assume that's what it's meant to represent. So you're going to get two that are the ricochet effects for a single shot, and you can see very similar to the Iron Man burst effect, just at an angle, and you're going to be able to port those in to the little holes there. And then you get the triple shot, so you get the multi-blast where we have the 3 blasts all connected to each other, and we got a port right there that we can put them in. And there you go. So you get your bullet hole effects there, so it looks like people are firing at Black Widow. So very cool looking effects, and I mean, I wouldn't say you have a ton of options because you get 3 effects for the bullets and you're limited to only these 3 spots. Yeah, that is that's probably from the molding there. That's not an opening. So that's a little disappointing they didn't give us maybe one more spot even. Just, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Now, when we look at the stand itself, we're going to get that same type of ball that's going to port right in, and then you're actually going to have the stand there. And let me bring the camera up. And the actual piece here, we have a ratcheted lever there. And then you get this little angle piece that ports in. So when you get it out of the box, it's going to come in 2 parts. I'm not going to try to pull it out, but you pop it in there. and you pop that in, and you get some ratcheted effects there, and you can actually turn it as well. So very cool little grip, and then it's spring-loaded. So that is actually one of my favorite things. You get a spring-loaded grip on that. So I actually really like the stand. It's pretty versatile for the most part. I mean, this part here, obviously, you don't get a whole lot out of it, but the fact that you can angle this in all sorts of directions and turn and tilt, and then you get a very good, strong grip, means that you can use this potentially with some heavier figures, I would imagine. But very well done, very cool looking. And not to forget about the rest of her accessories, so we get these guys here, along with a pair of gripping hands to hold on to them. One of the cool things about these gripping hands is it is going to have that ulnar and radial type of articulation, so it bends this way, there we go, and that way, so very cool looking. But these are pretty neat looking weapons here, and I'm sure that we will watch the movie to discover that her baton that we got with the regular release version turns into these things. We don't have the same detail in the grip that we do with these ones, but you can see on this baton how it has like these little knuckles here, if you will, and you can see that those same spots seem to translate over to this. So I'm sure at some point, I bet we'll be watching the movie, she'll have been using the batons throughout, and then at a pivotal scene, she's going to like give them a snap, and that's going to happen, and yeah, it'll be really cool looking. So that's, I'm sure what those are, but yeah, they are pretty cool looking, I will admit. And she is going to come with 2 hands to hold the 2 pistols that she comes with, and these are the same pistols that we saw with the Yelena and the other Black Widow figure. So no surprises there. If you have all 3 of these figures, you now have 6 of these guns, and it is going to fit in the holster right down there on her leg. So it's just like the regular release Black Widow. And finally, you will get a pair of fisted hands as well as these stinger effects to go over her gauntlets, and those look very cool. You get this translucent blue, and it's just really well done, and you just have to push the gauntlets back a little bit, and then you can get them in. They kind of pop up a bit, but they still work quite nicely, and you don't want to flip it around. This long end is definitely meant to be over the gauntlet. If you flip it around, it kind of looks a little bit silly because the blast is pointed backwards. So very cool effect, though, and obviously you can do the fisted hands without the blast effects in there or without the stinger effects in there if you want to. You don't have to have the stinger effects in there with it. And getting up close here, we can see a very similar head sculpt to what we got with the retail release Black Widow, but you can see an ever so slight smirk that was not present with this one. However, in looking at it, I'm wondering how much of that is just paint and how much of that is actually a different sculpt. I'm wondering if they just painted the lips ever so slightly different than they did with this one. I don't know. What do you think? It's really hard to tell. The hair is going to be the same, though, so that is identical. Slightly different shade and a little different wash going over it. So this one you can see is a much darker red. From what I saw in the trailer, she should have some longer hair at some point, but yeah. And then you can see what I was talking about with it being almost the exact same sculpt. So we get a little different here in the top. So we don't have that one piece, but you can see all the lines are the same. And we even get that deep V cut there in the chest. So that is going to be probably the biggest difference between them, other than obviously this one has the backpack and this one doesn't. Aside from that, that is it. They are now identical figures, just with the different deco. So getting rid of that one. Looking down, I mean, it's all just molded in white, so there's really not a whole lot to see. I mean, we do have the silver and red there on the belt. And sorry, my camera seems to be having a harder time focusing with all the black on here than it usually does. But I mean, it still looks good, and I had the same problem with the heel, so she's been on a stand to help me keep her standing. So, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, what do we got? We got paint there on her shoulder with the red and the gray, the black, and everything else is molded. I mean, I guess we had the paint on the belt. But yeah, that's pretty standard looking. So, I mean, the figure isn't bad, but it is, like I said, the same figure to the retail release one. So if you have this one, you essentially have the same figure. So I don't know, let's do one more close up here and you guys can try to decide if you think it's all in the paint or if it's actually a different sculpt. There you go. So, I'm not going to do the articulation since we already looked at the articulation of the other one. You can check out that video if you want to see it. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And that is going to do it for this review, everyone. So overall, I like the concept of what Hasbro did here. I'm not thrilled with the execution simply because this more or less is a reissue of a figure that was released at the same time, albeit with just some slightly different sculpt work, like super subtle variations, and of course the different deco. So really, this is more about the stand and the effects, in my opinion, as far as this review goes, which I like them. The stand, while it is big and kind of cumbersome, to look at, it's quite effective. I mean, I have this NECA stand that I've used, and I mean, the ratchet is super loud. You get no kind of articulation really at all, other than up and down on this piece. This doesn't really turn. That's manual. Like, this NECA stand, honestly, I'm a little disappointed in it. In truth, if this figure goes on clearance, if I can find it like dirt cheap, I might pick up more just to get more of these stands, in all honesty. I think they are quite well done, and while it's not worth it on its own, the price point to just get it for the stand, if you don't have the retail release Black Widow figure and you want a movie Black Widow figure, it could certainly be worth it. But in this particular case, it's one of those things where the stand is awesome, but the primary thing that it's packaged with, not so much. So that's why I say maybe some clearance pricing or something like that, or if you can get it for the $20 price point, I mean, I would say that's worth it. You get the figure and the stand out of it for that. But with that being said, keep an eye out for it, and keep an eye out for Hasbro doing more of these Marvel Legends stands. I think this could be a way for them to do some more deluxe figures and get us some more of these stands, and that would be really cool for some of these agile type figures. But anyway, that is it. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the black background. I didn't have much time to play with the lighting, so hopefully that worked well with a white suited figure. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know what you think of the figure, the stands, the effects, all that good stuff. Make sure to hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe for more content just like this. And as always, thanks for watching my videos, and have a great day.